documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Ronald Show, Ronald.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening. Hello everyone and welcome to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex, and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. Today is Saturday, March 30th, 2013, and I am here with Scott duPont. And welcome back to the next part of our documentary, which is so important. Do These Things or You Will Die has reached a milestone, and Scott has published his book based on the alkaline diet. And Scott, how many days ago was your book published?
Well, it's being released next week, officially, April 1st.
Onto Amazon?
But, it is available now on Amazon, Borders, and BarnesandNoble.com.
How long did it take you to write your book?
The book, probably about a year, and you actually helped me with it, being a contributing writer. So it was a team effort, but a lot of the information in it I probably accumulated over 8 years, not really knowing it, working for Medco, the prescription benefits company, and also working for a dozen of the large pharmaceutical companies like Glaxo, SmithKline Beecham, Medtronic, I mean some of the medical companies as well as the pharmaceuticals, Pfizer, Merck, you name it.
Awesome. Can I see it? Here we go. Take a close look at it. Do These Things or You Will Die. Now, I actually started the juice fast again this week. I started out at about 189, 190 pounds, and I'm down to 181 this morning. Sometimes when people run into challenges with the alkalinity diet, it comes down to what? How the body reacts to, and this isn't a diet, it's alkalizing your body, a lifestyle change. We were talking about that. Say you're alkalizing. Tell me the process of what happens if you're on the alkalization road and you're getting your body into that mode, and then you somehow lose control and eat something that is acidic. Can you explain that?
Yeah, actually a great example, Ronald, you were just sharing, you were on set last night and one of your friends or someone that you were talking, he hadn't gotten the book yet.
Right.
But your friend was starting to alkalize the body, and he had several days of pure alkaline intake. So when you're alkalizing your body, what you're doing down to the cellular level, every single cell in your body, you're telling your body, okay, we're creating an alkaline environment, okay, including literally down to the bloodstream, everything in your body. And that's sending a signal to every single cell via the nerves and the axioms that, okay, we can start releasing all of this body fat. And that's how literally, I'm not necessarily an obese person, I think I'm a fairly normal person. I literally shed 19 pounds in 7 days.
Right after New Year's,
when I alkalized.
Right?
And we have documentation on that, and we have pictures on that, and we actually had witnesses. And you've done an incredible job when you took the 60 pounds off in just 90 days. Mm-hmm. Now, what you were talking about, your friend, this is very, very common. He was alkalizing, I guess, for 3 or 4 days, losing 1 or 2 or 3 pounds every single day. and then he had a little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of cheese. And what happens is, when your body starts getting into alkaline mode, you're dumping all this fat, because the only reason why you have this fat is to protect the skeletal system and to protect all your vital organs, all your internal organs from the acid. Think about battery acid. Think about any kind of acid, stress in your bodies. It's not pleasant.
Cortisol.
Yeah, anything like that, your body wants to protect itself from that acid. Once you alkalize, your body signals all these nerves, like, okay, let's dump the fat. So after a few days, if you break this cleansing, this 7-day alkalinity cleanse, even just a minute amount, you're going to, all of a sudden, your brain's going to switch gears. Go, whoa, a little bit of acid. We need to store as much fat as possible. So you're going the opposite direction. That's why people seesaw. These yo-yo diets, they get out of control.
Really, alkalinity is a lifestyle change. And once you get Scott's book, he's going to pay...
Our book, he's contributing author right there.
Contributing author. But really, Scott is very... When I moved out here to California, you saw how I was, and Scott said, you got to juice fast. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it. And we went on this journey. And so now, through that and other people's journeys that I went through, Scott has created this book of information that everyone, if you were to get this book and implement what Scott provides as far as information and practical application and results, so that you can actually change your body forever and never worry about being fat or sick ever again. This is what Scott is bringing to you in his book, Do These Things or You Will Die. It's on Amazon.com. Thank you so much for watching our documentary. Scott is very available if you ever want to get
one more thing on this
Sure.
We were just actually talking about this. If you have a friend, by the way, in the back of the book, in the appendix, is a very, very detailed step-by-step process of the 7-day Alkalize and Energize program. And I think what happens to some people, even the people that get the book, the people that follow the program, we've worked with over 50 people so far. They've all had incredible results. We've had people get off all the prescription drugs. We've had a gentleman on the East Coast lose over 100 pounds.
They keep it off, right? How long has he had that weight off now for?
Over 2 years. Might be 3 years, actually.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I suggest. If you're doing the 7-day cleanse, there's a little checklist to the first page of the appendix, single thing you need before you leave the house. Okay, if you're in the house, it's fine because you can control all the great nutritious alkaline stuff you can do. If you leave the house and you have a short checklist, A, do I have lots of water? Alkaline water, preferably.
Or access to it, right?
Yeah, or water with lemons, which will have an alkalizing effect in the water. Do I have raw, organic, unsalted, unroasted almonds? Are extremely alkaline. One of the most alkaline things you can do. You can chew them to a paste. You're still technically doing liquid diet. Are you bringing your green powder drink that you can mix up in just a water bottle or mix up with any other vegetable juice that's alkaline? If you have all these things with you, there's no need for you ever to cave in while you're at, let's say, a business meeting. Because instead of ordering a coffee, you can have a green tea. If you're, if you like us, we're in the movie business. If you're working an extremely long day, you can just put green powder and just shake up your water bottle all day long. And by the way, you're getting more nutrients, more vitamins, more minerals, more protein, more of everything you need from this green drink than an entire plate of crappy food. So don't let that fool you. It's like, oh, the guy next door is eating a whole big crappy plate of bacon and chicken that's not even organic, and he's eating this potato with extra stuff put on it, sour cream.
All that stuff adds up.
Yeah, and it's not really giving your body a lot of nutrition. It's giving your body a lot of work to try to digest it and excrete it.
And it's immediately sending signals to your axioms, right, of the central nervous system to store fat or keep fat on, instead of sending the signal that your body's in an alkaline state and it can release the fat. And really, not so many people aren't so much they're carrying fat and their intestines are gunked up. Now, do you talk about neuro-linguistic programming in your book at all?
Yes, we do, and there's something maybe we can do on a whole nother episode. But here's the basis of it. You need to start programming your brain, and whether that's the vocabulary you use when you're talking to other people, whether you're talking on the phone, talking to your friends, or if it's the inner vocabulary when you're talking to yourself. I see a lot of these people on Facebook 2 or 3 times a day. They're taking a picture of this huge double-decker bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich with extra mayonnaise and Dijon mustard, and they've got a Coke nearby that's 32 ounces, and they've got a plate full of these special fries, and they're taking a picture of it and bragging about that. Once you actually get super healthy, and you get to a point where, to me, I have so much energy and I feel so great all the time, if I look at any food like that, it's repulsive. So you need to program your brain, or kind of just work on yourself, saying, you know what, I'd rather eat something healthy that's going to taste good. By the way, there's this misnomer. Healthy food doesn't have to taste bad. A lot of the healthy food I take tastes great once you switch your body around and once you're more
I love juicing. When I drink down a glass of fresh vegetable juice that I've just juiced, I just juiced a couple hours ago. Carrots,
carrots
green
are so
peppers,
delicious.
Ginger I've been putting in there has there's just so much flavor, and once your body reacclimates itself to nature instead of chemicals, and you're alkaline and your body is functioning properly, then you're absolutely right. I've totally noticed a difference in my taste buds, and back what you were saying about the brain and training your brain.
Yeah, and here's another thing. I'm not going to go in the whole NLP thing here, but think about it. A lot of people, especially in our hectic lifestyles today, where we've got our BlackBerry or our iPhone strapped to us, we carry around our iPad, and people are calling us, sending text messages all the time. A lot of people just literally eat their lunch at their desks, or they'll eat in their car or on the run. Okay, so you think about this. Is it really worth the perceived, and once again, perceived meanings, the taste buds are sending these signals to your brain. So your brain doesn't really know what it tastes like. It's just the perception of this In-N-Out burger that tastes really good and yummy. Okay, is it really worth the 2 to 3 to 4 minutes? And I've seen people eat an entire burger in 2 to 4 minutes. Okay, they're not stretching out. They're not stretching out their lunch for an entire hour anymore. So is it really worth 2 to 3 or 4 minutes of perceived pleasure? Maybe they have an apple pie or cake for dessert, versus hours and hours of true pleasure, to me, which is the aftertaste of a nice carrot, celery, cucumber drink, which I can kind of savor it for hours, and all the energy that I have, and I'm not worried about a big sugar crash or carbohydrate crash an hour or two later.
Or an emotional crash, that happy feeling that you were able to maintain your alkalinity, self-control.
Versus the guilt. I mean, my God, I know some people that
I've gone through it.
They know when they're biting into something, they feel like crap. It's like, oh my, I shouldn't be doing this. And then they just feel awful the whole rest of the night.
You mentioned something about almonds a little bit ago, about how when you chew them, it's basically really you're staying on a liquid diet, because you can chew it down into a paste in your mouth, that really extensive mastication. And I guess there are masticating juicers. You want to get one that blends down to mastication, gets the most juice out of it. But I really also have a thing I've been doing with juicing, and I don't know if you might, when you do the new edition or we do further shows, when I drink my vegetable juice now, when I take each sip, most of the time, I'll actually let the juice sit in my mouth for a few moments, even swish it around, so it starts absorbing under my tongue and into my gums and into my mouth, and immediately starts entering my bloodstream from here. So the digestion happens in my head, in my mouth as much as possible, and then when I swallow it, I guess it's being digested even in the stomach too and going to the rest of the body. But you can eat almonds, they're filling, and make sure you chew them well, and do that so that you're drinking a lot of liquids. Stay hydrated so that you can get as much of the nutrition in through your mouth first, chew it down into a good paste so that digestion is pretty easy. I just didn't want to forget that point when you mentioned that.
That is a great point too, and the two digestive enzymes that hit food right away, pepsin and renin, they are secreted from your mandible, your jaw. That will just, so you've got this paste, it'll literally start digesting right in your mouth before it even goes down your esophagus. So really, by the whole point of the 7 days is, but everything at the end of the esophagus should be liquefied, so it goes through your small intestine, your large intestine, your colon, which if you stretch that out, believe it or not, is 14 feet in length. So it curves around like that. And that's why people that eat any kind of red meat or carbohydrates, anything, processed foods that's tough to digest, that stuff gets caught up in that little crazy maze that zigzags back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's why the rate
and
of...
your gut starts to swell and fill up.
That's why the rate of colon cancer has skyrocketed in this country anymore. In recent
Your
years.
lower intestine basically becomes a trash dumpster and starts to fester with what? Disease and bacteria, right?
Yeah, and what happens in the 7 days, if all this liquid is going through this really thing zigzagging forth all the way through the end of your chute, so to speak, it'll, just like a pipe, it'll over 7 days clean it all out. And that's how I lost 19 pounds just a few months ago. A lot of that was toxins, because I did have a few bad foods over the holidays. And that's the great thing about the book, you'll learn, is after the 7 days, you can just go on an alkaline lifestyle. It doesn't mean you have to juice and do liquid diet the other 365 days a year.
Right.
If you have a piece of wedding cake now and then at somebody's wedding, if you have a glass of red wine now and again, it's not the end of the world. As long as you are living a healthy lifestyle, if that makes sense.
What percentage would you say?
At least 80%. So 80%, and in the book there's actually some charts and diagrams of 80% of all that you eat is alkaline. Like right now, that's my lifestyle. So last week I actually had a couple pieces of mushroom pizza. So the cheese, the dough, all that stuff is not necessarily the most healthy, but you know what? I'm here to enjoy life. Life is short.
Right.
And I'm not gonna, go out with a good buddy. We had a production meeting and say, oh no, I'm not gonna have a slice of pizza. Or I'm not going to go to my buddy Hans's wedding a few months ago and say, oh, sorry, Hans and Lisa, I'm not going to enjoy your wedding cake. So once you balance yourself, there's really no problem to treating yourself occasionally.
And you can enjoy those special occasions without any guilt, because for the most, life isn't always, you could treat every day like a special occasion, which it is because you wake up alive and if you alkalize, healthy. But 80% of the time, what Scott is saying and describes in his book is you want to stay alkaline, eating an 80% alkaline lifestyle. And then when you go out and you have those special occasions like birthdays and Christmases and holidays and Hanukkahs and Halloweens and Thanksgivings and weddings, you can maybe have that birthday cake, just like what you were saying. I totally agree with that. And that's what we do here, is maintain an 80-20% lifestyle. In fact, if you were to go into our refrigerator here at Magnolia Village Studios and into the cupboards where we keep our food for production and everything, you'll see that it's all alkaline. We have vegetables, nuts, green drink, lemons, and that's basically it, really. Nuts, almonds.
Almost nothing in the freezer.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, we don't even really need a freezer except for ice cubes. But most of the time we're drinking room temperature water anyway. Well, Scott, thank you so much for being on the Ronald Show.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Once
watching
again, do these things or you will die.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back after this. Peace. Have you ever wanted to write a book? Have you ever wanted to write a screenplay? Have you ever wanted to have your great movie idea turned into a screenplay, turned into a movie, turned into a book, and distributed all over the world? Well, now you can learn how to do it with the great new book by Ronald Farnham, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the 3 magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. You know what that means, is now we're here to talk about perpetration by the global military-industrial complex and the collapse of life as we know it through poisons. And so today is day 1 of our prayer session called A Reading from the Book of Ingredients. And now, to do our reading today, Scott duPont.
Well, this is chicken flavor bouillon. Looks really natural. There's a nice picture of a chicken there. Probably like they're trying to portray it came from a farm. First thing I noticed is there's 870 milligrams of sodium. For one, I don't want to eat anything that has more than 10 grams of sodium. This is 870 milligrams. Here are the ingredients. Sugar, monosodium glutamate, cornstarch, beef fat, hydrolyzed corn protein, dried chicken meat, autolyzed yeast extract, chicken fat, maltodextrin, silicon dioxide, dehydrated parsley, disodium insomnate, citric acid, yellow dye number 5, annatto, in parentheses it says color, yellow dye number 6, adds a dietary but insignificant amount of fat and cholesterol. So it's even telling you you're putting cholesterol in your body if you eat this, and 870 milligrams of sodium. But other than that, it's probably really healthy.
Thank you, Scott, for that wonderful reading today. For today's a reading from the Book of Ingredients. Thank you for watching The Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And the industrial part is what makes this poison that you are eating and cooking with. Yay for the industrial complex. All right. Peace.
The human race will die.
Oh, really?
The first commandment is to maintain a global population under 500 million. Do you know what that means?
It means 6.5 billion people are going to die at the hands of the Illuminati unless we stop the Iranians from detonating that dirty nuclear bomb at the Hollywood and Vine train station.
The Iranian suicide bomber cell is located at the Vibe Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard.
This isn't Scooby-Doo.
Little blood drink and turned your stomach?
Guide them to the bomb. What is this? Fucking Batman and Robin?
I have become part of something that I no longer felt right about serving.
It's Hollywood and Vine, not Vine Hollywood. Don't you know anything about American culture, you silly Russian?
The global military-industrial complex.
Leading the charge of the carnal feminist.
Ah, yes. The Messiah.
My book is the solution.
How is that the way the world is?
Traitor. Who are you working for?
If I was cartoon character, I'd be Woody Woodpecker.
This land is your land. This land is my land, from the Gulf Stream waters to the New York Island. This land was made for you and me.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ronald Show, documenting the collapse of life as we know it as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex and teaching you to be a creditor in commerce. Today is Thursday, April the 11th or 12th? Oh, it is the 12th, April 12th, 2013, and I'm coming to you today because of Dr. Stephen Greer of Project Disclosure, who is about to release a major documentary globally, and I have an article right here on the internet from Weird News, April 10th, 2013. Scott Keim, the co-host, the co-writer of Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star, which can be found on Amazon.com. So go ahead and buy that book today. It's a funny journey by a lovable character. Anyway, here is this right here. SIRIUS, Stephen Greer's film. That's the name of the film, SIRIUS, by Stephen Greer. Film claims to unveil tiny alien humanoid. And check out this picture of this tiny alien. 27,199 people like this on Facebook, by the way. Now, it looks pretty real. And it's a small animal, it's a small alien. And let me read this article to you. An upcoming documentary promises to show an alleged tiny alien being, alien is in quotation marks, being that was found a few years ago in Chile's Atacama Desert. And when we say tiny, we're talking 6 inches from head to ET toe. Don't be fooled by the apparent size of the creature in the picture above, as the following image, which I'm going to show you, its true 6-inch stature. Look at that. Look at that. So that's either real or it's not real. You got two choices. Red pill, blue pill. What do you think? Is that a red pill or a blue pill? I believe that humans now are in a place mentally where they'll be able to handle this kind of news about the possibility of life on other planets. I even saw a video of an Italian Pope or an Italian Vatican leader talking about how we cannot deny now the existence of life on other planets and out there in the universe. And you'll have to search for just Vatican leader. Anyway, so let me read more of this article to you, which I find interesting. The film called SIRIUS, SIRIUS, will also depict how readily available forms of alternative energy technology or what extraterrestrials may be using to travel here from the cosmically improbable distances between their home worlds and ours. If this is all true, and that's a very big if, it will certainly answer the ages-old question of whether or not humans are alone in the universe. What do you think? Do you think we're alone in the universe? It just, mathematically, it's impossible. I think we've come up with the math equations prove that there's no way for there not to be life as we know it on other planets in the universe. The force behind SIRIUS, the movie, is Stephen Greer, a former emergency medical physician. He's actively pursued avenues to get the U.S. government corporation to reveal information about the alien reality, information that the powers that be, that's their words there, the powers that be, and you will see me using the same terminology in my book, The Second Coming of the Messiah, Book 1, The Awakening and the Rapture. It's the powers that be. That's who they are. They, quote unquote, are the powers that be. Stephen Greer, a former emergency medical physician, he's actively pursued avenues to get the U.S. government corporation to reveal information about alien reality. Information that the powers that be have always maintained does not exist. So the powers that be are always saying, don't look behind the curtain.
Don't look behind the curtain. What movie's that from? It's The Wizard of Oz. We live in the land of Oz. And the powers that be, the U.S., really the global military-industrial complex, because they're all working together. All these governments are working together. And if you YouTube search, you'll see now that 4 other governments outside of the U.S. government are starting to disclose information about the alien UFO presence. And you'll find, once the truth does come out, that it's more pervasive than you can even imagine. And it's been around a lot longer. And you're going to have a different understanding of things. I used to work in the military intelligence, government intelligence sector for 13 years. And things are much different in the real world than what you see on the news and on TV, and that's reported. SIRIUS includes graphic footage of the supposedly humanoid entity of unknown classification by DNA sequencing. And here's another picture of it right here. See that? A side view X-ray of the minuscule creature was also released to reveal its internal structure. Interesting. Look at the noggin. Is that its brain? Pretty cool. The film is Greer's latest effort to shine a light on the supposed cover-up about visitors from other planets. In 1993, Greer created the Disclosure Project, and if you go on YouTube, you can see a lot of videos on the Disclosure Project with the goal of getting the government to fess up its alleged UFO and ET knowledge, as well as information about advanced energy and propulsion methods. Our government, and I know this for a fact from practical application, and this is true, the technology that's on the shelves now is about at least 10 years behind what the Department of Defense is using on a regular basis. When I worked for the Department of Defense, I was using technology that hadn't even hit the shelf yet. Was research and development technology that gets filtered through the I was working at Special Operations Command Headquarters, Central Command Headquarters, and we had the best technology and use of that technology that hadn't even really been commonplace until just maybe in the past few years. They're like 5 to 10 years behind. So when we're talking about advanced propulsion systems on a secure level, like at places like Groom Lake and Area 51 and any secret military base where advanced technology research and development is being conducted, you're going to probably expect them to be 50 to 100 to maybe 200 years advanced, and they just filter out some of the technology that they want us to have. But we do have free energy, and that's what this is talking about. Information about advanced energy and propulsion methods. Quote, "What people need to understand is the secrecy around UFOs and extraterrestrial intelligence really has nothing to do about the ETs. It has to do with humans and the power that is resting in large corporations and financial interests that do not want you to know the truth," Greer said in a video statement. More details on the possible ET specimen will be forthcoming when SIRIUS, his documentary, has its Hollywood premiere on April 22nd. Followed by a limited theatrical release and a simultaneous video on demand launch. Watch the SIRIUS trailer. Do you guys want to watch the SIRIUS trailer? I'm going to play it after I finish reading this article, and then we'll go to commercial. Greer further claims that for the past 100 years, advanced science and technology have been known about that can be used by the whole world. This really is the greatest story never told," Greer said. Quote, "Once people understand that classified projects have figured out how UFOs operate,
they will realize we no longer need oil, coal, and nuclear power. And look what's happening in Japan right now, man. They're going through another meltdown. It's sad what's happening to the people in Japan. This is the truth that has driven the secrecy. So the fact that we will no longer need oil, coal, and nuclear power is the truth that has driven the secrecy, is unquote what Greer said. Whether or not the little humanoid turns out to be from another planet, or is a previously undiscovered species from good old Earth, or is simply a hoax that has yet to be determined. That's how they finished the article. It's kind of weird. Whether or not the little humanoid turns out to be from another planet, or is a previously undiscovered species from good old Earth, or simply a hoax, has yet to be determined. And that's the end of the article. All right, you want to watch the trailer? Let's watch it. I'm gonna put it on the big screen here. Hey, what's up, Scott?
Hey, man.
I'm just filming an episode of the Ronald show real quick. Have you heard about Stephen Greer and Project? He's having a major Hollywood premiere April 22nd about this. Have you seen this trailer? I'm putting it on.
I don't know Stephen Greer.
He is behind Project Disclosure about the UFO presence, and he's been having meetings every year in Washington, D.C.
Oh, no.
You want to watch this trailer? It looks like it's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And it's having a Hollywood premiere. I want to get tickets if it's at Grauman's.
The problem is not proving that UFOs exist. It's when you begin to expose the energy and propulsion systems behind how they're getting here.
What scientists need to do is they need to look at the hardcore evidence, decide that, oh my gosh, ETs are real, and then get over that. Then you can start extrapolating.
These sciences have been around for decades. They have been ruthlessly kept secret because of the power of a centralized petrodollar oil, gas, coal system. And right now, these misanthropic sociopaths are running the planet into the ground.
Governments have not gone far enough, so we've decided that as people to form our own movement.
All right, game on.
What we are attempting to achieve is a device which defeats the perpendicular force of gravity.
We have so many modes of converting quantum vacuum energy or zero-point energy.
This possible EVE was found in the Atacama Desert.
We have the best scientists that are going to be doing the DNA testing.
We have 1,150 teams of CE5 ambassadors.
I can attest to the fact that real phenomenon happens here.
And this is probably the most important thing going on this planet today, and yet nobody talks about it.
If we come together, we can make this happen in a matter of months, not decades. For this is the destiny of humanity.
Pretty cool.
It's interesting.
Yeah, especially talking about zero-point technology. All right.
I just did that focus group. It's pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
TV show.
Thanks, Scott. All right, that's it for the Ronald Show today. Thanks for watching. Peace. Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble is Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. The crazy adventure of a 1951-born male in Beaufort, Georgia with a 2-foot penis that grows to 3 feet. He goes on to become an international porn star after becoming a war hero in Vietnam. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.